Moscow has a new explanation tonight for a deadly New Year's Eve rocket attack by Ukrainian forces. The Russian military says its own soldiers are to blame for the deaths of 89 troops. Evidence of some of those deaths you're about to see. Briar Stewart now on the rare admission about what went wrong.
Inside this room, the frozen, mostly unidentified remains of Russian soldiers. The Russian army removed all insignia and documents from the body, says this Ukrainian soldier. He believes it's because Russia is trying to hide the scale of its military deaths. Through its nearly 11-month-long assault on Ukraine, the Russian government has said very little about its battlefield losses, which is why an admission that 89 soldiers were killed in a New Year's strike in the Donetsk region is a rarity, even though the true toll could be much higher. Military officials now lay some of the blame on the soldiers themselves, saying they had been using their cell phones, which had been banned. This factor allowed the enemy to track and determine the coordinates of the soldiers' location for a missile strike, he said. There are unconfirmed reports that Russia had been storing ammunition at the same site where the soldiers were living. In Russia, there are solemn ceremonies to honor the dead, but little public outrage. The only real criticism has come online. The tragedy in Makivka is a crime, and no, not a Ukrainian one, said one military commentator. No one is assuming the responsibility for the needless deaths, said another. Russia's defense ministry says it will investigate what happened and hold officials responsible. It's an admission of the problems plaguing Russia's military. While it says only 6,000 of its troops have been killed in Ukraine since the war began, Western officials believe tens of thousands have died.
I think it's becoming more and more difficult to maintain this facade that everything is under control. And I think this is probably just one more indication of the fact that the whole narrative is fragmenting and it's under pressure.
As usual, President Putin is trying to distance himself from any talk of defeat. As he helped launch a frigate with a new hypersonic missile, there was no discussion about what happened in Makivka or anywhere else along the front line where Russian soldiers are fighting and dying. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.